And we're about to go live and oops, shut up. Hey everybody, welcome. My name is Daniel Garza and this is Put It Together Conversations. I want to welcome you to the show. I want to start by thanking my producer, Mr. Kevin Warriors, for all his help and support. Thank you, sir. My director, Mr. Christian Paul Ramirez, for his help also. Invited you to join us at abnormalentertainment.com where you can find all the podcasts and shows on the network. And also follow us on Facebook at Put It Together Podcast where you can find shows and clips and information about my guests, where they'll be and what they'll be doing. Remember that this show is on every Friday. Sorry, every Saturday. I'm thinking Friday already. Every Saturday at 5 o'clock. If you'd like to be a guest on the show, or you have somebody you want to be on the guest on the show, let me know. Send me the information, and we'll definitely set them on. I'm going to share this on our pages so that we can start. So I'll give you a minute if you want to share that on your page, Torrance, so you can share it on the show. If you go to Put It Together podcast, and then I introduce your bio. For everybody joining us today, I have a friend, colleague, fellow comedian, Torrance Hill, and I'm going to read you your bio while he finds the show and shares it on his page. For those of you, Torrance Hill grew up in Queens, New York. As a child, he always had a passion for acting, but couldn't get cast in a single school play. It wasn't until college that he decided to fully follow his dreams and began taking acting lessons. This led him to gaining roles in plays with numerous theater companies in Atlanta, New York, and Los Angeles. Following the advice of friends and family, Torrance decided to try stand-up and immediately fell in love with the craft. Like most of his comedian idols, Torrance appeared at the Comedy Store, the Improv, and the Ice House, to name a few. He also works as an MC hosting corporate events throughout the Southern California area. And welcome, Torrance. How are you doing, sir?
I'm good. I'm having a problem already, like finding us. So I've already shared it earlier, so people better know where to find us.
I'm going to go ahead and, while you introduce yourself, tell us a little bit about you that I didn't mention.
Okay, let's see what that you didn't mention. Let's see. I'm 39 again, so people may not remember that. So I'm 39 again. I've been in LA for over 20 years. I'm originally from New York. I did live in Atlanta for 6 years, and that's where I got my entertainment bug back. You know, I had sort of dropped it as a kid, and then I picked it back up when I lived in Atlanta, started doing acting, and moved back to New York, and then eventually out here to LA. So, and now where I do stand-up, so which is
awesome. All right, I just posted it to your page, so people are on your page. For all the people that are joining us from Torrance Hill's page and all of his friends, welcome to Put It Together Conversations. I'm Daniel G. Garza, the host, and of course, Torrance Hill is my guest today. Now, I do have to disclaimer that Torrance Hill you and I are connected. I feel like in more ways than one. We're like basically the same person.
Okay, well, you tell them and then how we're connected, and then I'll tell them, I'll fill in any blanks that you leave out.
Well, we're both Cool Beans alumni.
Actually, I teach. I substitute teach there.
You substitute,
so
okay.
So yeah, I didn't go. I was doing.
But you're a teacher. So we have Cool Beans comedy. For those of you that don't know, a big shout out to Matt Moore and Corey
Craig.
Craig, thank you. That's where I went to comedy class, and Torrance was substitute there. We're both under the same management and the same agency. So Jose Reyes, hello Jose, if you're watching, and
be watching.
and RPM agency, hello Jennifer out there, and Tiffany, thank you for watching. I hope you're watching us. So there's a lot of connections, and then just by stroke of luck, we're almost wearing the same color shirt. So that's how
exactly.
That's how together we are.
We are in sync.
If I shaved my head, I would not be able to tell us apart.
I think so. And if I lost maybe 30 pounds.
I'll take that. I'll take the 30 pounds. Yes, thank you. I also want to tell everybody watching that this is live. You're watching this live at the moment. So if you have any questions for Torrance or for myself, but mainly for Torrance, You'll have to go to the main video and put the questions there. Otherwise, I won't be able to see them. If you're missing any of this, you can go over to YouTube and catch the reruns or right here on Put It Together podcast conversations. But let me start. You were on my podcast about a year ago. You did the original podcast and showed a lot of
time before you came big time. Now you're doing everything online
before the facelift, so people could actually see me. And I was white before this. I decided to put a little color on, but so there's a couple of things that here that I didn't quite remember about your starting in acting. Were you not a good actor, or were you just not being given parts when you were a kid?
Well, as a kid, I was scared of acting. So I mean, as far as that is concerned, I didn't even try out for a school play. I think the last school play I did was when I was in third grade. But I always wanted to be an actor. But you know, flash forward to when I became an adult and I started taking acting classes. I was pretty okay, and I got into plays, and I thought like coming out to California was going to be so easy. I just thought like, oh wow, they were going to cast me. I was going to be like the lead of a show or the co-lead of a show, and I couldn't get an agent. And you know, in looking back, what it was I was being stupid. I was being like, you know, I thought I had all of the answers. So I had these old ass headshots, and you know, that I was still using because I said, well, I paid for 500 of these, so I'm going to use these to up, you know. So I'm passing out these old ass headshots that weren't getting me cast in anything, but I didn't realize that. And sometimes you got to listen to people, you know. You don't want to end up like, you know, like looking back in hindsight and saying, you know what, I should have did this, I should have did that. And so I joke that people recognize me from not being cast in anything, you know, because that's what I really feel like, that stay-at-home actor.
You know, it's really true because my first headshots were I was in Houston, and we took my picture, and then I had a friend Photoshop that picture on top of some other backdrop that I don't know where we got it, and they were the most horrible headshot. But I thought I looked good. My shirt was open. I had a little cross going on. I was always Mr. Suave. And I never got booked on any of those.
So, excuse me, everybody. I don't have the AC, so.
For those of you watching us, we're here in Southern California, and we're having a heat wave. We do have those in California, but so just to let you know. But let's move up a little bit, because for those of you that have not watched the original podcast, I will post it again so you guys can listen to the story. But today we want to talk a little more because I haven't seen you probably 9 months. I think the last time I saw you was one of the events.
It was definitely pre-pandemic, so
Yeah.
that we know that. Probably at the Ice House, because
Totally.
that's generally our I guess our comedy home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, I want to start this because part of the conversation today is really about comics, doing live presentations, being out there in person, because you MC also, and that's also about being in front of the public. But since the lockdown, I do public speaking. Since the lockdown, we can't do any of that. And you have a show coming up.
I do. I have a show coming up tomorrow. As a matter of fact, hold on one second. I'm just bringing it up so I can let everybody know where to go. It's actually my first Zoom show since the pandemic, and everybody's going to Zoom for everything from corporate meetings to comedy shows to just about anything that involves people. So it's my first Zoom show that I'm actually in. So I'm very nervous because I feel like that newbie, even though I've been doing this for over 10 years, but I feel like that newbie that is coming in and doesn't know what to expect. I've seen Zoom shows, and you know, in person you get that immediate feedback, you know, from the audience, whereas you know, with Zoom shows, some people may have their mics on, some people may have their mics off. So it is sort of be weird to see how the timing goes, because I may not necessarily have all of the support that I would if I were at a live show.
So for those of you watching and just joining us, I want to say a quick hello because we have people already commenting. Estella, Fran, and Mr. Howard Ronan watching
Howard
us.
Ronan, how are you, Howard?
How are you doing, sir? Thank you for joining us. Um, there is, I believe that there's like different type of comedy. There's those of us that do like rips and we play off the audience and we really need the audience to make jokes. Then there's some comics who have their script and they have their lines set up and you really don't need the audience to interact to follow the storyline. Uh, what is your style of comedy?
I guess I would be that. I don't necessarily have to, call somebody out in the audience and say, what's your name? And then, do a whole bit on them. So they'll be able to follow what I'm doing. My big concern is if I can't hear, I may not know, is this bit working or not? Because when you're in a live show, if you may think something's hilarious, but if it's not working with the audience, you can hear it and then you can immediately say, okay, well, you know what, I'm going to go on to the next thing.
Yeah.
Whereas the thing with Zoom, if I don't hear them, they may be laughing, but their mics may be off, and then I might be thrown off. It might be like, okay, well, I'm going to skip this part, and rush through it, because I may be thinking like, oh, they're not with me on this. So we'll see tomorrow. So for those of you who do want, it's called Time Capsule Comedy, and you can email for tickets at timecapsule, ZOOL. So it's timecapsule, ZOOL at gmail.com. So,
At
and
Gmail?
that is tomorrow. And we are tomorrow at 6 p.m.
Sure. And and we'll put all those links on you guys for you to catch it. Make sure you go and watch it. Um, now there is a how much when you do presentation when you do stand up now, how much of it is your gut feeling? How much, because sometimes you walk in and like the comic before you just killed it and then you walk on and the audience just kind of shits all of a sudden. But how does your gut feeling play into all that?
You know what I like to do? I like to be in the room so that I know what the audience is feeling, beforehand. And a lot of times I feel like they're always on your side. And I think especially when they see you in the room, because when they see you in the room, sometimes they sort of act like you're an audience member that's getting up there. So they're on your side. So I like that. And that helps a lot. And then I also know, okay, well, what not to say. I know what's not gonna work. So if we're talking about like a joke about drinking and driving, and that didn't work for the comics before me, I'm not going to get up there and necessarily, say, well, their drinking and driving joke wasn't funny, but you're going to love mine. So no,
Yeah.
I'm not going to play it that way.
Because I know in the pre-production meeting we were talking that I've had the pleasure of being on a couple of Zoom shows, and I think that being having done public speaking where you're not really counting on, like, you're not telling jokes, you're just telling your story or explaining something, and having done live stream shows where there's nobody feedback, you're reading people's feedback, has helped me to be able to trust my storytelling better. And that I'm like, okay, I know where to pause. I know where to like extend the words a little bit. And if I think if okay, maybe I might be wrong, but I always think if I think it's funny, everybody think it's funny. But then I forget that I have a really twisted sense of humor, and most people don't find my jokes funny. So I guess I'm giving my brotherly suggestion here is like, just trust your gut. If you think it's funny, trust your pauses, because you're right. People will not give you immediate feedback, and you just gotta keep going.
Right, exactly. And I mean, I have no choice because this is probably going to be the way that it is for at least until 2021 sometime.
Yeah.
I was speaking to a friend the other day, and because I also perform at the Comedy Store a lot, and he was saying that they probably aren't going to open again until March or April of 2021. Hopefully it's sooner, but we don't know. So Zoom might be the way to go. So I've just got to get used to it. So that's one thing right there.
Plus, I think it opens the platform for a lot of comedians that normally wouldn't have a space at a bar or at a venue. Because I tell people I was very fortunate. I went to go see a friend of mine at a show. He introduced me to the promoter, TK Madison, who's promotes Rebels of Comedy. He introduced me. We just happened to both be from Texas. I was being my stupid, annoying self. They thought I was funny. They're like, "Do you do comedy?" I'm like, "I do." They're like, "You want a shot?" I'm like, "Sure." And didn't have to sleep with anybody. Didn't have to buy any drinks. He was just, I was very lucky that I was at the right place at the right time, and I kind of moved over. But I know that not everybody has that luck. So I think soon comedy shows or online shows are going to open the door for a lot of comedians who haven't had that opportunity.
Right. It probably will because there are a lot of people that don't have that just basically that social networking skill, to go to a comedy club and see the promoter and go over to the promoter, introduce themselves and say, hey, I like your show. I like to, here's my card. I like to be on your show. Most people will just watch the show and then leave. So maybe online, you can hit people up online. As a matter of fact, on Instagram, I've had a couple of people that have hit me up and I don't even know them, but they got my name from other people. So that's the thing too. People refer you.
Yeah.
And so that's absolutely great.
It's the bravery of the computer. It's that social media courage that we had. Because I mean, what's the worst they can do? They don't answer your message and you walk away.
Right.
Versus being in public and you're like, hey, okay, never mind, just good show.
Although I can tell you though, pre-pandemic, like and especially like at the end of the year, I'll hit up producers and bookers, and I would do it on Facebook. And on Facebook you can see when they've read it. And I'll see that they've read it and not answered me. I'm like, no, mama. Let me see them out in the streets. You got the nerve to like your stuff later on. And I'm like, but you didn't even ask me, to or comment on my my question if I could do your show. And I'm just asking for one night. I'm not asking, hey, can I host your show forever or take over your show?
That sounds like my sex life when I was single. Hey, I'm not asking to move in. I just want one night. That's
okay, exactly. So I'm gonna be rude and just sip my beer.
Please do. Please, if you were here, I would say you're in your house. Make yourself comfortable.
It's 1,000 degrees again, people.
Oh, one of our audience members is asking, do comedians still send out postcards to their followers? I am not of that era of sending postcards or thank you notes to followers. Do you interact with your followers?
Not for me. It's probably even before my time. Although I think now with social media and everything, people do everything online. So we let you know where we're going to be online. We do the thank yous after the show. I'm a big fan of, like, let's say after a show or something like that, that I hit up the person on social media, thank them, and thank the people who came out. Obviously, you don't have the names of every audience member that came. So it's just a general thank you to the audience, because, we're definitely appreciative to the audience that comes out.
Yeah. Yeah. Now you have a good presence. I'm a big presence on social media. I mean, you're on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And I was a fan of yours before we actually met. So I knew about you before we met. And then yeah, I'm not gonna lie. How do you think I get people on this show? I wait for them outside their house with the mask on, which is really creepy now. I was like, you want to be on my show?
Exactly.
Food service.
I didn't know that. I didn't know that you were that we were friends beforehand. Which is absolutely great. Because then I think that breaks the ice for people too.
Yeah.
But you follow me or I follow you. It's not creepy. No,
and some people can. I've been in the business now 2005. I started in 2005 in Houston in a talk show. So I'm going on 15 years of career. And there are people who have followed me along the way in the different things that I do. And every once in a while, it does get a little, like, I remember my first dick pic, and I was like, oh, okay, so that's a thing. Okay, got it. I mean, if you're watching right now, I was impressed. Good for you. But
But nobody sends me that.
I've had a couple of boob pictures sent to me trying to convert me. Um, but you've been on social media through the whole lockdown, talking about the lockdown. How's that
Right.
going?
Well, you know what? I will say I was naive. In March, I thought we were only going to be locked down for 2 weeks, and I was working from home. I was like, yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm at home. I could, get up and work, and just take my time and blah blah blah. I thought it was just going to be for 2 weeks, and then it was going to be over. That's what I thought. I don't know where I got this information from, but I thought it was going to be over. By now, I can tell you right now, Daniel Garza, I am sick of my apartment. And I love my apartment, but I have seen every nook and cranny in this place. I mean, because my typical day is going from the bedroom, getting my passport to come to the living, to sit in here. My refrigerator doesn't know what's happening because I have opened up that door so much. It's like, just give me a rest. Give me a rest. I have gained about 20 pounds.
Did
So,
you really?
yeah, I've gained. And it's funny because when I do see people like in the distance or whatever like that, they're telling me that I look like I lost weight. And I'm like, nah, maybe the mask makes me look thinner, but I have put on weight. So, it has just gone, you know, and then and then I'm seeing, this is the thing, I'm seeing people that are dating and people that are getting married and getting engaged, and I'm like, how do you even meet people? I haven't seen anybody since March. I haven't hugged since March. So
I would be a little. I don't know. Okay, so I'm agoraphobic. If I don't have to go out, leave the house, I don't leave the house. So I'll be honest. The lockdown was kind of God sent to me. I was like, oh, I finally don't have to leave. But I'm with you. At this point, I've got the COVID-20 going on,
yep,
and it's like right there.
right,
Um,
exactly where mine are.
but I would. I mean, I'm glad that I have a partner because I would be scared to hook up with anybody right now.
Mhm.
I
Well, remember years ago, like, when it came to hooking up, everybody was scared, gay or straight, we were scared of HIV. You
Yeah.
know, what's your HIV status? What's your HIV status? And now it's turned into, what's your COVID status? But I mean, like, I could be asymptomatic. I haven't gone and gotten tested, so
See,
I'm like, just, when is AIDS coming back? That's the sad thing. Is like, when people are gonna be like, I would remember the good old days of AIDS. I wish AIDS would come back because at least we could go outside the house and we don't have that luxury now. And don't get me wrong, people, like, I know that that's a serious thing, but I'm just saying
uh,
this has become so serious that it's like when you want AIDS to come back, not maybe the AIDS
I,
of the 80s, but the AIDS that was here in March,
the
um,
only thing
second March AIDS.
the only thing I can think that would be kinky is if you had a date over and you had an anal thermometer to take their temperature. So that would be kind of kinky.
Well, here's the thing. I mean, like, I'm setting up a store now, so I'm sure if you took my temperature, like, what is that really going to prove? Oh, you got a temperature. Some people run hot. I mean, I'm always like 98.7, 98.6, or whatever like that. But I mean, some people may run 99. I don't know if that's how we got to, oh, if you have a temperature, that's the main thing, of you having COVID. And then as well, let's face it, we still get allergies. I have allergies, so right before the lockdown in March at my job, because well, people are coughing, everybody's always like, and I was the first one saying, that's been logged, because they would always claim there was allergies. And then the next thing you know, somebody got with the flu. So now we're like, okay, we passed that now. So it's
They need to come up with a hookup COVID test, like something you could have at your house when you have company over, like
Right,
like
exactly.
before you come in.
Right, exactly. Before you come in here, and it's beyond, yeah, maybe a swap.
Now, I don't want to like, but you're single, correct?
I am I am single. I am looking.
You're
Um,
looking.
you can yeah, you can DM me for that.
You appreciate the dick pics if they have them.
And wait, and y'all hear this gay accent, so don't no women be trying to slide into my DM unless you got a fine brother. Like have him, look.
Before we continue, we have another comment here. Fran was asking us to announce our events. Social media is so impersonal. Do you think it would appreciate more interaction? They're basically asking about like, do we send out flyers or invitations or something? Most of the shows that I do, I don't get access to our guest. Um, but yeah, I don't know. I mean,
Well, wait. The question is like, if I have a show, do I send it? Do I
yeah.
send?
Do you send thank you notes or other than online? But I haven't done that.
I like to who's come because I just want to make sure
Yeah,
I'm sending out.
yeah.
Oh,
So, like
so
for instance, people that come to see your show, say for instance, friends of yours or followers, because we both do the group shows, and if you have people that come specifically to see you, do you send them a thank you note afterwards?
oh, okay. So there's probably two types of things going on here. There's that general, where where people will see
Showcase.
pictures from the show, and you'll say thank you to everybody who's come out or whatever. But I do send like maybe those individual ones for people that I know. Like let's say this friend is 8 months pregnant, but she came from Long Beach to wherever to come see me. Those type of folks I will send personal thank you to, whether it's on social media or maybe just a text or a phone call.
Yeah.
So if you know the person, then I would say, yeah, of course, let them know, thank you in person. Obviously, if I did a show one time, and I mean, I had like over 50 people that I knew that came. I couldn't call up 50 people. So everybody that's got, online, the general message,
And
and
and and just to answer, friend, sometimes we don't like if you're working with a promoter, they get all the list of names that show up. We don't. We normally don't, unless you know them personally. I don't know the people that go to the shows. So
right. Like, I mean, personal friends I would know, but as far as like somebody who see me and they say like, oh, Torrance is going to be in a show. Oh, I like him. Let's go see him. I may not know them personally. So when I say thank you, that's to them, yes, as well, because you
so very
definitely want everybody to know that you appreciate the fact that they came. And as well, like after shows, comedians, most of the time, if they don't have another show, they stick around, they talk to people. We always tell people, thank you for coming. And I know it sounds so freaking corny, but I generally mean that from the bottom of my heart because of the fact that if we have a show at 8 o'clock, that means that whatever you were doing that day, you had to stop at a certain time, shave, shower, get dressed, get a babysitter, get in your car. You had to pay for parking, you had to pay for tickets, you had to pay for drinks, so it could end up being expensive. So definitely, I make sure that you are thanked. And, whether you've come to see me or whether you've come to see, like, let's say if you and I are doing a show, if they came to see you, I'm still thanking them, for coming out and supporting the show.
and I'm like you, especially because I bring up sometimes cancer, that I'm a cancer survivor in my shows. Um, 9 out of 10, I'll get somebody after the show coming up to me and saying, "Hey, I'm a cancer survivor," or my mom, or somebody, my friend or family, whatever. And there's always that connection, and I appreciate that. It makes me feel good that I could bring a little laughter to that moment or something serious. Because I've talked about HIV, I've talked about cancer, I've talked about colorectal doctor, so I've talked about everything on my
Look,
shows.
you're so lucky. You've had everything. People are out
That's
there now talking about, oh, I don't know what to talk about. It's like Daniel got all the good bits going on here.
I'm that person that you don't know what to get for Christmas because I've had everything. So just
But you know what? I
so
feel like you because I had, and I used to talk about it in the acting. Maybe I'll talk about it tomorrow. But I had a mammogram. So a man with a mammogram, y'all. Yes.
really.
Let me tell you
And
what,
how was that?
painful,
Really?
painful. It is the most pain. My utmost respect for women.
Women.
You know, I won't even talk about it here because it'll probably be in the act tomorrow.
It'll be tomorrow. It'll be tomorrow. So if you want to know more about Torrance and his titties, you've got to watch
Right,
the show tomorrow.
right, exactly.
Uh,
Come to the
we
show
do have
tomorrow.
a question from the audience. Howard is asking, who are your comedy influences and favorites?
Going back, like Eddie Murphy back in the day, I remember Chris Rock when he first got started, and I thought, wow, this young kid is really, really funny. Um, Definitely Dave Chappelle. Um, and then there are gonna be people that you probably don't know, but like, are you familiar with like Elaine Boozler and Rita Rutner? And yeah, so people like that, like, like anybody that I saw on a comedy show back in the day where this wasn't even a thought of my head of doing, but for some reason I always enjoyed it. And sometimes as a kid, you don't necessarily appreciate stand up because a lot of stuff may go over your head, but comedians like that always just, I was always like, how do they, like, I didn't understand the thing that they were putting together an act that everything was always said, and because it was so natural, I think as a kid I always thought that they were just talking.
Yeah.
Like they didn't know what they were going to say. I didn't know that they had written this and that they had performed this 1,000 times. I didn't know anything about, going and, working out your material at an open mic or anything like that. So those are my favorites because those people have lasted,
Yeah.
the test of time.
Do you remember who was the first comic or comedian or show that you saw?
The first, it was Eddie Murphy. I didn't see him in person, but we had the record at that time. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, once upon a time there were these things called records, and so we would play his comedy album, and he had this bit about Aunt Bunny and falling down the stairs. This was like in the mid '80s, maybe
Wow.
early to mid '80s, and it was absolutely hilarious. And I mean, you know what? When you listen to something like that, I'm surprised that I would be doing stand up now because that was so funny. I would have never thought that I would ever even be on a stage because I'm like, nobody can top that, you
Yeah.
know. With a lot of these comics, I think that's maybe a thing that people, because I hear people sometimes and they'll come up to me or other friends of mine that are comics and they'll say, and the first thing that they want to say is not that, they always say they don't have a half-hour comedy special. I'm like, nobody does if they just got started, but they think like, well, I got to have that. They don't know. It starts off with 3 minutes, then 5, and you grow the act. But from this day, yes, Eddie Murphy has been one of my main favorites.
The first thing, just for the audience, in case you're interested, but the very first thing that I remember watching that made an impact. I mean, I grew up watching like Mexican movies with comedians and comedy, but the very first thing uh, and was Whoopi Goldberg's special on HBO, and
Her one woman show that was on
yeah,
Netflix.
the one woman show where she does the little with the shirt.
Uh-huh.
I remember watching that, and the whole show. I'm sure anybody watching, you've seen that special. If not, you can definitely find it. It's out there somewhere. I think on YouTube you can still find it. But
It's definitely
that,
it's always in the clips. Anytime
yeah.
they do it, it's mainly in the clip.
But I remember that part with the little girl with the hair, and I remember crying with it as a little kid because I was a little Latino boy and I wanted so much to belong, and it was so interesting to me to hear somebody else. And she has such a way of making you believe that she's that character. So I was believing that she was that little girl that wanted to just belong. And I was like, I want to be that, like, I'm that person. So to this date, I watch that special and it makes me cry. So,
Oh,
yeah, yeah. We have another records, like running in a short time. Jose is making a comment. His comment was records question mark, like running like Like,
Jose is all of 12 years old, everybody.
what do you know about life, Jose? What do you know about life? So for everybody watching, this is Put It Together Podcast Conversations. My guest today is Mr. Torrance Hill, comedian and MC, and we are talking about comedy and the lockdown. So if you are sticking around, please join us. If you're just now joining us, remember this will be on rerun, so you can catch it here on the Put It Together Podcast page, or you can follow us on YouTube at Daniel G. Garza for this and more shows. So getting back to Torrance, how do you see dating post-COVID?
It'd be interesting to see somebody's whole face for a change. But I was in John's grocery store the other day, right? And I was leaving, and there was this cute Latino guy that came in, and I mean, all I saw was this, but I knew we were in love. I knew we were in love. I was like, oh my God, he is so hot, you know. So it's like, you know, when things change, you know, when you're like, oh, I really like your mask, like that's when you know things have changed.
You know how gay somebody is by the bedazzling on their mask.
Yeah. And he was hot, mask and all, and I was just like, ooh, like, I mean, if you look good from here up, you can imagine. My imagination was going, and then I'm like, I'm leaving, and I'm thinking about like, oh man, I need to go back over there to the meat section, remind me of where he was, you know. To go say hello. But I mean, I would think that now, I would hope that maybe we can get back to talking on the phone, you know, because we've gotten into this thing of always texting. I wanna talk, you know, and have some conversation.
Yeah. Well, I've been on Zoom today since 10 o'clock this morning. So it is now 5:37. So I've been on Zoom 6 hours, almost 7 hours, like kind of like that. Yeah, 6 hours, right? Well, anyway.
Were you on a Zoom date? What were you doing?
No, well, I had a brunch date with a couple of friends of mine from Florida. Well, it was lunch for them, brunch for me. So we got into conversation, and it went on for 2.5 hours. And then from there, I had a client for an hour, and then I had a business meeting for an hour. And then I ate lunch really quick and jumped on this. So but I think it's made us, appreciate each other more, because we take the time to like, hey, let me call you. I have time. Let me call you. I have time. Let's get in a video chat. Do you think video, like we used to have sex talk, and then we had sexting? Will we have Zoom sex now?
Oh, definitely. Definitely. Now, I wouldn't, because here's the thing, as a comedian or whatever like that, you know, or somebody in show business, I don't want to show my face, and then it's like, you know, years later, and then everybody's got this sex video of me. But I'm sure that people are out there, you know, sexting via Zoom, and you know, it's not something that I would want to do. Now, I'm not saying I wouldn't watch it if you want to take off the clothes from me or whatever, but
if you guys want to stick around for the end of the show, and I'm just kidding.
But you know, I think that would be something that people probably started doing back in March. I mean, especially gay boys. I mean, you know, we're always advanced, so you know, we were doing that as soon as they introduced Zoom. You know, let's say if it got started on March 15th, by March 16th, there was somebody's dick on Zoom, you know, showing it to somebody else. So, yeah.
So now that we're talking about dating, and like,
I noticed that nobody has hit me up on my DMs. I'm just putting that out there.
If you're watching, Torrance is open. I was gonna say for business, but that's not.
Open for dating.
Open for dating.
Open for chatting.
Well, let's. I mean, I don't want to say I'm a matchmaker, but let's pretend that people. I mean, I'm not pretending that people are watching. People are watching, but people are watching. But let's say Mr. Right is out there watching you right now.
Uh-huh.
What does Mr. Right look like for you?
You know what? It's not what he looks like. It's what his personality is.
Okay.
And I like somebody that is it's sort of like the opposite of me because I'm always laughing and joking. So I need that person that's going to be more serious, more business minded, more. You don't have to be a nerd, but you can be even
We lost you there for a second.
but you're going to be a lot more. So that's what his personality would be like, and he would also be funny. Why is it saying that my internet is unstable? Is that my internet or your internet?
Yeah, your end. We lost you there for a second when you were describing your type.
Oh wow! See, somebody don't want me to have
The,
somebody. All of a sudden, like the internet.
It's like the universe. The universe is going. Oh, Terrence wants a boyfriend. Mute.
Right, exactly. In other words, just be breathing. I'll figure out the rest. That's.
But yeah, because of course Jose's asking Torrance, what's your type? Describe him. Well, he was trying to say that he wants somebody opposite. What are you like? What's your personality like? Like you're very outgoing.
Right. I'm very outgoing. I'm very opinionated, and I don't mean opinionated in a bad way. Like if I don't know about a subject, I'm not gonna talk like I'm the authority on that subject. I'm gonna listen. I'm not one of those people that I believe everything that I hear on the internet. I'm gonna research it or whatever. But for me, I mean, I'm outgoing, but yet I'm chill. I'm friendly, but I'm a New Yorker, so I mean, don't cross me. I mean, you will get cut. I mean, but that's what we do. So if you can deal with all of that, then you're fine.
So how long have you been in Los Angeles?
I've been in Los Angeles 22 years.
So do you still consider yourself like New Yorker or are you LA now?
I am LA unless shit goes down. Then I'm a New Yorker. So sometimes, when shit go down and you gotta, okay, we gotta take out the earrings and fight. Exactly. Then I'm a New Yorker then. Other than that, yeah, now I'm LA, but
So
it's a fine line.
So would you rather have an East Coast style boyfriend or a West Coast style boyfriend? Because they're very. I've been to the East Coast for work. I'm from Texas originally, so I like the Bubbas. But I've learned to appreciate West Coast guys and East Coast guys. What kind of where do you have a preference?
Well, you know what? Because I grew up in New York and I left New York when I was 24. I lived in Atlanta and my family is also from the South. So I'm used to Southerners.
Ooh.
And then I'm out here. So I can do a mixture plus your little Midwest guys. So basically I'm like that type O blood. I can do anybody.
You're like the census, you count everybody.
Yeah. It's like, yeah, we gonna make it work.
Because
hit me up. Operators are standing by.
I appreciate a good Southern boy. Southern boys can eat. They're not scared of getting dirty.
Wait, eat what? Get dirty how? What are you talking about? Did we go a different way? I think we went a different way, ladies.
We could have. We have the potential. I think between both you and I, we paid a couple of gutters between you and I. Let's just,
Look, we'll come back to Daniel After Dark at midnight. We'll talk about that.
Well, hey, I'm almost 50 years old. I'm not gonna lie that I haven't been around the block. They've named a couple of corners after me. I can own that. I can own that.
I've got some skeletons.
Yeah.
It's like, when somebody comes out and they say, oh, well, we got these pictures of Torrance or whatever. And because I know my personality, I'm going to be like, oh, those are bad pictures. Let me show you some good pictures of me naked.
Let me pull up the good ones right here.
Right, exactly.
Well,
those.
I've discussed it on the show before. And I thought, like, I'm a recovering alcoholic and drug addict. So it's been 13 years now. But I remember, like, Oh, I remember. Well, I kind of remember some of those nights. I'm so glad there was not social media back then, because I would not have any kind of career now, or maybe I would. I mean, it
Well,
would for the.
hold on here, Daniel. Let's just put this out here because I know the people. So, Daniel, okay, so we're talking about cancer, HIV, a drug addict slash alcoholic, but yet Daniel has a man and lives with him. I don't have any of that, and I'm alone waiting for somebody to DM me from this show.
You
So,
know,
yes, you're going to be my guru on what to do.
when you've had the life I've had, there's nothing that a boyfriend can put you through that you haven't been through. Like, bitch, I got this. Like, you want to fight? Hold on. Somebody hold my bracelets. I got this. Um, by the grace of God, and you've
But you
met
know what?
Chris.
When you're single for so long, here's where the problem comes in. Whoop,
No, go ahead, go ahead.
wait, you cut out, but I wanted to say this. Can you hear me? Because this I'm getting
Yes.
that internet is unstable. I was gonna say, like, you're lucky because like when you're with somebody, they already know you, they know your vibe. For me, it's like now I'm at that point where I'm so stuck in my ways and I'm gonna have to get unstuck in my ways because my thing is like little things piss me off. Like as far as like the toilet tissue. I like my toilet tissue hanging under, not over. So if you put it over, that's a big
Is a
fight.
deal breaker?
Huh?
That's a deal breaker.
It could be, or if you put the ketchup in the cupboard instead of the refrigerator, I'm just like, no, that's wrong in the eyes of the Lord.
Okay, let's go back on that because I just recently heard about that. I heard about people putting the ketchup in the cupboard after they open it. Who does that?
Animals, animals,
Th-
animals.
this is not. I heard that on a TikTok actually. I was like, I could not. Well, you see, Christian, you've met Christian.
Yeah.
Uh, Christian, when we met, did not eat hot sauce. Well, first of all, he doesn't like Mexican food. Let's just put it there. I don't know how we're together. He does not eat Mexican food.
But Christian is Latino. I just want to make sure that everybody knows, correct?
Christian, for those of you that know Christian, Christian is half. Actually, he just got his ancestry DNA a little while ago, so he's a third Mexican, a third Samoan, and third black. So he's got three thirds in there,
Yeah, and all three of those like hot sauce.
and he does not
I
eat.
don't like hot sauce. I mean, I'm not a big hot sauce eater, but I'll put it on stuff, not a
Yeah,
whole lot.
well, I've said it on said it on stage. I joke about it. I'm like, my boyfriend doesn't eat Mexican food, but he'll eat Mexican. So,
Uh, Tune in to Daniel After Dark, ladies and gentlemen.
but yeah, he didn't like hot sauces. He didn't like salsas when we met. They were, but over the last 8 years, I've slowly curbed him to eating salsas. Now he eats spicier food than I do. So that's where it's gone. So people, this is just to tell you, guys are trainable. If you're the alpha, you can train your boyfriend to do anything you want. I'm just gonna tell you.
Well, okay, so I'm gonna train then to the toilet tissue hanging under,
Yeah,
the ketchup, mustard. I don't buy peanut butter and jelly, but if I do, if it's open, it goes in the fridge. My bread goes in the fridge. So they're just things, and I don't leave dirty dishes in my sink overnight.
do you put your peanut butter in the fridge?
I do.
See, we can date. That right there would be a deal breaker. I,
No,
I can't stand cold peanut butter. Like it breaks the bread. I don't deal with that.
no, you can leave it out for a minute. Nobody's ever had to have a peanut butter sandwich that quick. Like I gotta have a peanut butter sandwich now. Take it out, let it thaw for 5.
Have you seen me when I'm hangry? That it's not a pretty sight. Let me just say it. So, folks, we have about 10 minutes to go. If you are watching, thank you for joining us. I am Daniel G. Garza, and this is Put It Together Conversations. My guest today is comic and MC Mr. Torrance Hill, and we're talking COVID. We're talking comedy during COVID, or during what did I say on that thing? Uh, Comedy during the lockdown. Was that the title of the show? If you have a question for Torrance, please send it out before we go. Um, Torrance, some of the questions that I usually would ask on my regular show would be words of wisdom. What words of wisdom can you throw out there for people coming into comedy or young comics?
The thing would be to learn and to be able to take information. I think I was able to grow faster as a comic because I had friends that were comedians, And so I listen to their advice. And I find that now new comics, and when I say new comics, I don't mean like somebody who's 18 years old. They could be in their 50s. I'm talking about new to the game. What ends up happening is that if somebody tries to give them advice, the first thing they want to say is, "Oh, they're a hater," and they're giving you good advice. I remember meeting this young guy years ago. As a matter of fact, at the Ice House, and he was very new, and he said, "Oh, I never do the same show twice," you know. And so his thing was that he thought that that he was going to be able to just do this brand new set every time that he goes up. Never saw him again, ladies and gentlemen, because that can only last 2 or 3 times, especially when you're new and you don't really know what you're doing and what's working. And I was trying to tell him, you don't know what's working because you only do it once. So I would say, listen to people, and if it's some advice that maybe you don't want to take right then and there, put it in your back pocket. Maybe it'll come out later. Maybe you'll use it later. Um, so I would definitely say that. I would say definitely do open mics. Um, that is a big thing. I know people don't like to do open mics and they feel like nobody's listening, but at least it gets you out of the house. And because there was one year, as a matter of fact, a couple of years ago, where I wasn't doing any open mics and I was only doing book shows, but I wasn't seeking out book shows or making any effort. I don't know what I was going through that year, and I probably only did like about 8 shows that entire year. And then the next year, when I ended up doing the open mics, I ended up, going back to doing open mics. I ended up doing a lot more shows because, of course, now you're meeting more comics, and then everybody knows somebody. So it's like, oh, Torrance, I'm going to hook you up with this guy or this girl, to do this show. And I was booking shows left and right. So I would
Yeah.
say those are my two things. And also be funny. If you can be a funny comic, then maybe it's time for you to do something else. It's not for everybody.
Yeah. And that's one thing that I can get pretty intimidated at shows because a lot of these people have been in there longer than me, have done more stuff than me, have a bigger following than me. So I get a little intimidated, and I'll tend to shy off. But I've noticed that if you're funny, if you're engaging, people will include you, and that's how you start like blending in. And now I can go to anybody, but I can go to most venues and there'll be somebody that I know. They'll be like, "Oh, you're that little Mexican guy." It's like, "Yeah, that's me. I got it." Like, yeah.
Right.
So
Exactly.
yeah,
I do that all the time. I'll go to a show with a friend, not even planning on being in the show, just to support. And the producer may say, "Oh, do you want to do 5 minutes?" Oh, and another thing of wisdom: if you don't think that somebody is funny, do not say anything. And I mean, as far as like, let's say, if you don't think that I'm funny, don't go over to Daniel and say, that Torrance isn't funny, because you don't know that Daniel knows me. You don't know who knows who in this business. And what's going to happen is somebody's going to come over to me and tell me, oh, so and so said that you weren't funny. And they're going to tell me everything that you said. And you may not have meant it in a malicious way, but when people do hear gossip about themselves, they're going to feel a certain type of way. So you don't want to be that comic.
yeah,
If you're going to talk about somebody, you talk about it with your best friend in the car, but just tell a group or, people that you don't know. Like,
yeah.
you be professional where you are, even if you're not in the show. Just.
Awesome, thank you. So for everybody watching, my guest today has been Mr. Torrance Hill, not just a colleague and fellow, but also a friend of mine, and I so appreciate you being on the show today. Thank you for joining. We have one more question.
That's from Jose again.
Yes. Jose wants to know, what shampoo do you use?
Tell them I don't use Head and Shoulders. I just use shoulders, because I don't have any hair, so I just use shoulders.
Oh, you can always count on that one person. So I want to remind everybody. Let's remind everybody you're going to be on a show tomorrow on Zoom, and we're going to
On
find that.
Zoom, and let me just bring up this information again so that you can get your tickets. You're going to email. You are going to email time capsule. So it's like time capsule, but ZOOL, Z as in zebra, timecapzool@gmail.com. And I am Torrance Hill. There's another black guy on the flyer whose picture is bigger than mine. So, I see he has better credits than I do. So, but it's going to be myself, the lovely Sally Mullins, Eugenia, Kuzmina, Dwayne Perkins, that's the other black guy, Ed Rosegan, myself, Torrance Hill, and the wonderful Jackie Fabulous.
Awesome. So, Jackie's pretty, yeah, I like Jackie. She's cool. So for everyone watching, remember, and you can also follow Torrance on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. You can find him at Facebook on Torrance Hill. Twitter, he's Torrance Hill 06. Instagram, he's Comic Torrance Hill. And all this information will be on the page. Go check them out. If you would like to be a guest on the show or know somebody that you think would be a great guest on the show, please send them over to me. You can email me directly right here on the Facebook page. I'll put it together podcast. Just send me the information and we'll look them up. I want to thank our manager, Jose Reyes, for putting this together. Not that we needed to. And he's the one been commenting. Howard says, great interview. Thank you, Howard. Another fellow comic. Hilarious guy. I want to remind everybody that we are, Little Mexico Productions has shows almost every day of the week. Follow us on Wednesdays on my page for the Christian and Daniel show. On Fridays for the Card Devo at 6 o'clock. And this show, Put It Together Podcast Conversations, every Sunday. I'm sorry, every Saturday. I want to make it Sunday already. Every Saturday.
And let people know where they can follow you.
Yes, it's
always online, ladies and gentlemen. Come on your computer. Daniel is online.
I'm all over the place. Yeah, but you know that's one thing that the lockdown has done. It's just it popped my creative juices. It's like I want to do everything. Again, I want to thank Jose, our manager, for putting us back together to do the show today. Our agency, our RPM, ladies over there, Jennifer and Tiffany, for all their hard work. Thank you for all your hard work. And for any other person that thinks we're hilarious, we're ready to get back to work, people. Ring, ring, call us up.
Exactly. Well, now that you know I'm doing Zoom, you can hit me up and invite me to do a Zoom show.
Yeah, and for those of you, if nothing happens, the federal bar up in North Hollywood is doing outside shows. So I'll probably, if nothing happens, I will be there on the 10th, September 10th for a show. So I'll be back on stage on the 10th.
Okay. Remind me, because I tell you what, it's so funny because I will hear about shows and see everybody's thing about it when it's upcoming, and then the day of the show, I'll be laying in bed saying, I don't have anything to do. And then right after the show is over, that's when all of a sudden I'll see it. So remind me.
Yeah, that's why I want to send a big shout out to TK Madison, who is the promoter for Rebels from Comedy, who has. I'm so honored and humbled that he calls out me. I don't think I'm funny. I just think I'm stupid. But I guess people do. So he'll call me up and say, hey, come get on stage. And I do it. Plus, we're both from Texas. So I kind of have to do it.
Right. And you're very funny.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Well, coming from you, that's a huge compliment. So thank you so much. Any last comments before we leave?
Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me on here today. Sorry for sweating up a storm, but I probably lost some of this COVID 20 pounds that I've gained since I am busy sweating up a storm. I will just say I am looking forward to, and I'll probably talk to you offline after my show, maybe next week, just to let you know my experience with a Zoom show.
Yes, please.
So, so I'm like that virgin, getting ready for the first time. So. A little bit nervous, but we'll see what happens.
Well, with your ability to be funny, I think you're gonna be fine on this. You're just plus again, not that I'm giving you comedy advice, just my advice from being on Zoom shows already is channel your MC persona and just pretend you're presenting. Just pretend, like don't wait for the response. It'll be funnier that way than pausing a lot. So just keep it going.
Exactly. That's what I don't want to do. I don't want to be like, and so then I said, the punchline, and then it's like, waiting to hear, that sort of thing. Hopefully I won't be the first person up, so I'll be able to like sort of judge the audience, because then I can see like, the people's icons and see what's going on, if the mics are on, off.
Awesome.
Well, again, I'm sure it'll be fine. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, and I'm gonna be able to watch, so I'll be able to watch and check it out. So I'll come back and tell you guys.
One line for this, I will underneath the on Facebook, I will put how people can get the ticks, with their email.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Torrance. Good luck. Break a leg on the show. Sorry. For everybody watching, I am Daniel G. Garza. This has been Put It Together Conversations. Remember, we are here live every Saturday at 5 o'clock. Come check us out. I want to thank my producer, Mr. Kevin Moyers, my director, Mr. Christian Paul Ramirez, and I want to thank you guys for joining us. Go be amazing. For Little Mixer Productions, I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Okay, thank you.
Don't hang up.